Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to dive into one of English's most debated, most misunderstood, and honestly, one of its most fascinating rules. It's time to finally settle the score on the split infinitive. So let's kick things off with a phrase that you've almost certainly heard. It's something that's been part of pop culture for decades, and maybe something you even got a red mark for in an English paper once upon a time. Ah, yes, the iconic line from Star Trek. You hear it and it just sounds right. It's powerful, it's memorable, and yet, for the longest time, it was held up as a prime example of a grammar crime. And that's the big question, right? For generations, this kind of phrase would set off a little alarm bell in the heads of students, writers, and editors everywhere. You know the drill. We were told you just don't do it. You don't split up two and its verb. Period. But here's the thing, that rule, it's not really a rule at all. It's basically a historical misunderstanding. A bunch of grammarians way back in the day were obsessed with Latin. And in Latin, infinitives are just one word, so you literally can't split them. They tried to force English into a Latin-shaped box, but guess what? English isn't Latin. So today, we are busting this myth wide open. Okay, so before we can go around confidently breaking this rule, let's just make sure we're all on the same page. We gotta know exactly what it is we're talking about. First things first, the infinitive. Think of it as the most basic, plain vanilla form of a verb. It's the verb in its natural state, before you add any endings for tense or person. To dance, to think, to learn. Super simple. And that brings us to the main event. A split infinitive is simply when you stick a word, usually an adverb, like carefully, right in the middle of that two-part verb. You are literally splitting the infinitive. And yeah, this is the move that caused all the drama. All right, now for the part you've been waiting for. We know what it is, we've seen the famous examples, so what's the final verdict? Should you actually do this? This really is the heart of the matter. Is it sloppy? Is it a mistake? Or is it a totally legit tool that you should have in your writing toolkit? Yes, 1,000 times yes. Pretty much every modern grammarian and style guide will tell you that split infinitives are perfectly okay. In fact, sometimes they're not just okay, they're actually the best option. So, why the big change of heart? Well, it really just comes down to two big things: making your sentences crystal clear and making them sound more natural. Let's break those down. Now check this out. This is where it gets really interesting. On the left, to always lock is perfectly clear. The command is clear. Lock the door every single time. But look at the sentence on the right. Always to lock. It's a little fuzzy, isn't it? Was she told this rule over and over again? Or is the action of locking supposed to happen over and over? By splitting the infinitive, you kill that confusion. It's just clearer. And then you have cases like this, where trying not to split it just makes a mess. Seriously. Try to rewrite this sentence. The company aims more than to double. Nope, that's gibberish. The company aims to double more than its profits. That means something totally different. In this case, splitting the infinitive isn't just a style choice, it's the only way to say what you actually mean. And beyond all the logic, sometimes it just comes down to what sounds better, what flows more naturally. Just say these out loud. I want to truly understand. Feels pretty smooth, right? Now try, I want truly to understand. It's a bit clunky, a little formal, maybe even a little awkward. Splitting often just sounds more like how we actually talk. Okay, so we've established that you can and often should split infinitives. But does that mean you have to split them all the time? Well, no, not at all. And this is where we get to stop talking about rules and start talking about style. Let's look at a few times when you might decide to keep that infinitive together. So, you might want to think twice about splitting in a few situations, like if the word or phrase you're inserting is really long and clunky. Or maybe you want to put special emphasis on that modifying word itself. And there's a special case for words like not or even. So here's that first case, the heavy modifier. Look at that first sentence. You have this long list, faithfully, diligently, and earnestly, stuffed between to and uphold. It creates this awkward gap, and we have to wait to find out what the actual action is. But if you move that whole list to the end, the sentence just flows so much better. It's smoother and easier to follow. Now, this one's a bit more subtle. When you're using words like not or even, sometimes putting them before the to can create a stronger emphasis. Compare them. To even ask versus even to ask. A lot of people feel that second version really hammers home the surprise on the shock of the action. It's a small tweak, but it can definitely change the tone.
So we've busted the myth, we've looked at why you should split, and we've even seen a few times you might choose not to. Let's wrap this all up and get to the bottom line.
And here it is, the big takeaway. Splitting an infinitive is not a mistake. It's not bad grammar. It's a powerful and flexible tool that can make your writing clearer, more accurate, and sound more natural. Your goal should always be communication, not following some dusty old rule that didn't even make sense in the first place. So go ahead and boldly write.
And that kind of leaves us with one final thought, doesn't it? If one of the most famous grammar rules we all learned in school is actually a myth, well, what else is out there? What other rules do we follow without even thinking about it? It's definitely something to chew on. Thanks for joining me.